But when this happens for real and it's as cheap as it is and it works as well, everyone's going to give up their car practically.
Right.
It's just butts in seats 2.0. Isn't it?
If we're in another reality where TV news was positive towards this, if we all would just be bumping into each other in the street going like, SpaceX!
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a very good chance that AI won't be really bad for us.
Right.
It's going to get proper weird, isn't it? It really is.
Proper weird.
I think, to be fair, some Americans have married stranger objects, haven't they?
Sure, absolutely. That is our right. But
It's in the Constitution.
But
What's it like, Jesse, working with your dad? Today, I'm thrilled to introduce two pillars of the Tesla community who've guided me and possibly you, dear audience, through the highs and lows of being a Tesla fan and have fueled my obsession to Beyond 11. Please welcome Zac and Jesse from the fantastic Now You Know YouTube channel, where their Tesla Time news show has kept us Tesla enthusiasts informed and inspired for nearly a decade. Can you believe that already? Thanks for being here, guys. What a pleasure it is to have you both in the studio. How are you?
So great. Thank you, Will, for having us.
There's so much exciting Tesla news to discuss that we'll get to, but let's start at the beginning. I want to know more about you guys. Can you share how you became so obsessed with Tesla and how your channel began?
Yeah, I think it started 2016. We took a Model X and we drove from our house in Boston all the way to San Francisco because Elon said you could do it. And we're like, can you? Will we get stuck in Kansas?
And we had our AAA card, and we said, are we going to make it? And we did make it, and we were very surprised at how fun it was. I mean, we were just
we started
blown away.
Vlogging from the road, and we actually gained subscribers on the trip, which was like, people want to know about this?
Yeah.
And so it was really fun. It kind of just pushed us forward, and then we're like, all right, can we make it back? And we made it back, and we just started reviewing superchargers, and this was all new to us. This was all like crazy because it didn't seem like you could do it. But we wanted to find out firsthand if you could, and you could.
Yeah. So what were people's reactions then? Because you had Sparky, your Model X, and that just must have been blowing people's minds when they saw the doors open and then find out it's electric and stuff. I mean,
I felt like an alien.
I know. There were a couple of spots at superchargers in Kansas, and people are just like, what?
I thought they were going to get their shotguns.
I know. It's like, you're just like, I could blow people's minds every 20 seconds, just be like, it's fully electric. It's this, it's that. It can go up and down. It's got the wings. It's got the adaptive spoiler. It's got, it was just it was supercharging takes 20 minutes and we're going across the whole country and they're just like everyone's just mind just blown. What? I can't believe it. And
it got addictive because if you got someone in the car, you could definitely change their minds about electric because Jesse would just floor it and then they would be like, what just happened? And they would get out and they would almost be like, okay, we're getting one. Like it really changed lives. And so we were like, oh, we have to keep doing this. This is great.
What was it like during the sort of really good old days of the very early Tesla community then? Because you must have sort of met up with other Tesla owners, but I don't suppose there was clubs back then or any of the massive events we have nowadays.
It was superchargers.
Yeah,
it was everybody called it Tesla Time. Because at the superchargers at the time, especially with the Model X, it was like you had to add an extra few minutes to any trip that you were going to take because people would stop you and want to talk to you. And especially at the superchargers, back in those days, people would get out of their cars and they'd talk to each other. And that was called Tesla Time. And so that's why our show is called Tesla Time News, because we continued that sort of tradition of talking about what Elon is doing just forward, and it worked. I didn't think that it would. If we were to have started a show about Mary Barra or whoever was running BMW at the time or whatever,
Jim Farley News,
it wouldn't have gone so well. I don't think. I mean, there would have been press releases from time to time, but it wasn't as exciting. It wasn't as new, and especially when we started, there was no source for the news, really. It was very rumor-based. It was like, I heard they're going to make a $35,000 car, and well, I mean, what could it possibly be like? Oh, I sure hope it's like a Toyota Corolla but electric. That's what everyone was talking about. That's what all we hoped for. So, I mean, I remember some of the first episodes were talking about some of the plug-in hybrids that you could get at a BMW.
It was hard to fill those first episodes with news, to be honest, because there wasn't much going on.
So sparse. So BMW, 30-mile range, 6-cylinder sedan. It was like, is this useful to talk about? No, not compared to a Model S or X. And then it was nice that just more news, Model 3, Tesla killers, all sorts of amazing stuff. And so I'm glad that we actually just tried it one week. We were just like, we finished our whole road trip. We had talked all about Tesla during the road trip. And then a few weeks afterward, we started Tesla Time News.
In the car.
Well, that's so cool. Well, having been with you for, I don't know, probably about 8 years, I think, just sat in my living room wherever we lived. Me and my wife have been watching you for years. It's been a weird journey, going into this Tesla Jigsaw channel and then sort of getting to meet you guys and hang out a few times now. And obviously, I'm not a stranger to your show because I helped you present it when you had a holiday,
right.
Jesse. So
you're an honorary member.
Yeah.
I know. I still pinch myself for that. It's a very strange experience.
I think that's the best part about the internet, YouTube, is that we've got to virtually meet people that have become best friends. We've never met in person, you and I, and yet I feel like we're best friends. And I know we are and will be when we do get to meet in person, but that's so weird to think about that we could have these relationships with people that we've never formally met.
Yeah. Oh, I'm terrible in real life. You won't like me. This is the nice me. No, I can't wait to come across. And of course, you've challenged me to a drum off. So, I absolutely have to come across because I can't wait. And just, for any audience, nobody knows this, but when I did present your show with you, you've done some incredible, lovely things for me. But you also sent me your old electric drum kit, which is only a few years old, that's now in my cabin, and I've been playing it all afternoon. So nice. It's so strange just playing on your drum kit, but it's getting a good beating from me. So thank you ever so much for that. What a lovely gift, just for doing the show.
I'm so glad. That makes me feel so great to know. That's great.
Yeah. Well, I was teaching my daughter as well. She's getting pretty good now too. She can hold a pretty good beat. So that's great. But just go back to the community for a minute there. So you must have noticed this obviously far before I did, but I didn't know that becoming a content creator and just talking about my sort of love and my hobby of Tesla would open up this world of people literally around the planet that I'm speaking to, I'm either interviewing, and obviously all the events that I attend, I'm meeting these people and the realization that they're just really kind-hearted, lovely, genuine, forward-thinking, positive people. There just doesn't seem to be, any sort of negativity to, or resentment to anyone. It's just, I don't know, Tesla seems to attract just a lovely crowd to it. And, I wonder, well, exactly, there's no other car company that's got such a dedicated fan base or that understand what Tesla and Elon Musk is trying to do for the planet and the good of humanity. And it's weird, isn't it? Some people just seem to get it, and other people just seem to, completely ignore all of Elon's achievements and all the companies that are working on improving life on Earth. And to me, that's opened up a bit of a mind bender for me, because I don't know what it is that is missing in people when they can't see something so positive right in front of them and they're just not willing to look at it. And that must be sort of frustrating for you guys as well, because you get a lot of on your comment section on YouTube, just like mine, you get a lot of people that just are out there to hate on Tesla and stuff, and it's just a bit disappointing, isn't it? Sometimes that's their view, that Tesla bad, Elon bad. How do you deal with that?
I think it's because Elon hasn't done this the right way. There's the right way, which is supposed to be you're supposed to go on talk shows and ingratiate yourself with the public through these sorts of, the ways that we've seen all the people that you like that you have never met and will never meet. And even if they knew you, they wouldn't like you or hang out with you at all. Like, there are lots of celebrities out there, and the right way to go about it is to develop a certain personality, and it's to just have a particular image that you're always working on, and hire a publicist and make sure the publicist gets you on the right shows and gets you into the right TV gigs and whatnot. And even if you're a CEO, it's to be talk at certain conferences and to hold yourself in a certain way. And when there's public events, you speak in a certain manner and you read the speeches that were given to you. And Elon hasn't done any of that. He's done basically the complete opposite almost every single moment possible, which is to be kind of crazy. Kind of, right? He's kind of crazy, but he's also very, very right. And he's always focused on being right. And I think that with EVs, he was right very early on. He sort of understood, that climate change was a problem, and then he wanted to solve that problem. And he didn't solve that problem by going like, oh, the government will fix it. He went, well, the government hasn't fixed hardly any problems that it's ever set out to solve besides war. So why don't we, try and solve it in a private way and with lithium-ion batteries that are this technology that actually works, and solving a huge problem, which was like the battery problem. It was like the first thing that he was like truly right about. And J.B. Strobel was right too, but it was his intelligence being able to understand that. And then just going forward from that point, he was like, okay, we're not going to make a golf cart style electric car. Every single electric car before a Tesla Roadster was lame. I mean, the only cool ones, I suppose, were like the ones, little remote control cars that were shaped after Lamborghinis. That's neat, and it can go a scale 300 miles an hour. It didn't really. There was nothing that you could sit in that had an electric powertrain that could throw your head back, much like the first Teslas. He got that right. He said electric cars have to be sexy if we're going to adopt them. They're some of the sexiest cars on the road today. I can't drive down the road in my Cybertruck and not have every kid, boy or girl, know what the car is. That's insane. And so he's gone about it the wrong way for people to like him in the normal way that they like celebrities. Like, oh, I just love Tom Hanks because Tom Hanks, he was Forrest Gump. And then he went on a talk show and he talked about it, and he talked about the boy that he impersonated when I'm Forrest Gump. Oh, I just love him, right? Do you love him? Do you know him? He was acting that whole time that he was Forrest Gump, and when he went on the TV shows, he was acting. But Elon hasn't been that way. He's been very honest the whole time.
I suppose it's very much like the realization that at some point you get to in life, don't you? You're watching the news and you realize that the news anchor is just reading a script. You think you know them because you just watch them every day, and it's that phonyism that's changing in the air, isn't it? You can feel it. People are being more and more attracted to just real people. So when Elon goes on stage and goes, "Go F yourself," to a room full of CEOs and the Disney guy, whatever his name is. I mean, on one hand, it's just wonderful to see such honesty. He will not be bribed with money. How dare you suggest such a thing, which is why he was upset. But the world's media just leaps on that moment, don't they? And then they go, wow, look at this terrible character who's just said a sweary on stage.
He's not playing the game. The game is that you're supposed to say, well, I very much respect my competition, and I blah, 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 and I'll put out a public statement, and I will acquiesce because ultimately that's what they want from me.
But I mean, Will just said it. It's the first time in history that we can have a show, spend no money if we want to on it, basically, just a little phone in front of us, and talk to the world, and then let the world decide whether they want to hear from us. That's never happened before in the history of humankind. So it is incredible that we are doing this right now, and that you're halfway across the planet, and that people can decide for themselves whether they want to get their news from us or not. And that's the game changer right there.
It used to take monasteries writing books and copying the books, and then it was the Gutenberg printing press, and then it's taken a lot to get us to this point. And because Elon's so focused on the truth, he knew that the media doesn't need to be what the 1950s media still. Two men behind a desk, or now it's a man and a woman behind the desk. It doesn't need to be. And I say this as we're behind a desk, but it's like
we have a flamethrower behind us.
It's intentional. It's intentional because it's like we're in a different time when the trust doesn't come from the kind of institutional thing, and I think that Elon has identified that pretty early on.
Yeah, I guess he is the Joe Rogan of CEOs, isn't he? He's just open and honest with long-form discussions. I think that's probably why he appeals to so many people like myself and you guys, just because it does feel like everything he says is so transparent and genuine, But
and his first love is not the money; it's the truth, and that's just I don't know of any other CEO that doesn't at least first think of the money first. He doesn't. I honestly think that when he's talking about whatever, he cares more about science or the truth than he does about whether you're going to go buy his car.
And I think that he's disruptive in that way. Right. Obviously, he's disrupting all sorts of different markets. But there have been disruptive CEOs or whatever. But they've played the game in the right way. So that way, maybe they were hated during their lives. But then, and I'm talking about, of course, Steve Jobs. But then they die, and then they're beloved. and everything that they did was so great. Even when they yelled at people, we yelled at Wozniak, but it's because now I have my iPhone. Yay! I'm so happy. He's such a great guy. And it's like we forgive all that once they're dead, specifically. And sure, they disrupted something, but it was just one thing. It was just one thing. He was the iPod and the iPhone, and that's it. That's it. That's all he did. He didn't go on to do anything else because he died, and that's it. And we can still like Henry Ford, even though he was arguably a very horrible person. But we still like him because he did the assembly line.
Yeah, I mean, Elon does show you that the world is broken. If this one guy, yes, he's brilliant, he's smart, but if this one guy can disrupt all of this, then what the hell was going on?
Rockets and electric cars?
Yeah, come on.
Just those two. And that's, I think, what really caught me. I was in high school when I saw the Star Hopper tests, and I see this giant rocket go and come back down and land. And of course, sometimes it blew up, but I went like, oh, holy crap, I've never even seen that or thought of that, and now I'm playing Kerbal Space Program and I can do that, and I realize, oh my god, this is going to save so much money, this is such an amazing idea. And then not only do they do all these tests and like, oh, it's a thing that you could talk about, I talked about to my NASA friend, my friend who loved NASA so much, he didn't like it, and I was like, why don't you, this is exactly what you wanted satellites doing all sorts of stuff. Now there's a constellation above the Earth giving internet to places that would have never had internet.
Yeah.
Why didn't he like it? And I still don't know why. I think it's, again, because he didn't go in the right way. He didn't go like, I'm going to work with NASA and we're going to take 35 years to develop this program and we're going to spend, $45 bajillion to try and get this program started, and I'll kiss up to any president or any politician who, comes and talks to me, and I'll never call them a jerk or whatever nasty things he's called, or all sorts of people. But we wouldn't have Starlink. We wouldn't have reusable rockets. Getting to space would be this thing that would be like, well, shut up. We'll get back to the moon someday. We sent men in the 60s, but you're not going to go. We're just going to go to the International Space Station and back. So weird.
Yeah, it is. It's been a constant surprise that other people aren't more excited with the reality of what's going on with SpaceX and Tesla, Neuralink, boring tunnel, everything that he touches. X, and we can go in a million different directions here. I don't know whether to try and discuss everything, but I do
it's
have a
crazy, right?
Well,
that's crazy.
I do wonder if we're in another reality where TV news was positive towards this, if we all would just be bumping into each other in the street going like, SpaceX.
Yeah. Did you see what happened? Woo.
Right. But we're not. We're going, SpaceX.
We're not
what are you
there,
talking about?
are we?
What's Starship?
Yeah. Well, you're trying to be in England, surrounded by pessimists and people who are not very happy in the first place. Still angry at the weather, whether it's sunny or rainy. It's not many optimists over here, I can tell you that. Anyway, let me get to some questions then. So just one about robotaxis and autonomy, because obviously it's all kicking off over there in Austin. With Tesla's focus on autonomy and robotaxis now expanding into what can only be described as a love length around Austin, what's your take on the rollout and how Tesla's full self-driving progress will shape the future of transportation?
What we saw today with Lucid and Uber is a good indication. Why did Uber decide to call up Lucid and make a deal? And why was it today? It was because of what happened 3.5 weeks ago with the Robotaxi rollout, right? Where I think they thought, well, they'll push it back, it won't work, so don't worry about it. And now that it's happened, they had to go, we need a Robotaxi
and they
network.
also thought that it was going to be a disaster. And part of me was worried that it was going to be a disaster, that Elon would say, okay, do you have a car? Turn it on anywhere in the world. And
go as fast as you can.
And I was like, oh my God, like that might actually happen. And there'll be, 14 accidents that day, or something bad would happen.
You saw that day has Reuters and others were trying to make bad stories. And he was so smart. He just let a lot of the positive people in the cars. We got to see exactly what happened to them. And we saw boring. Oh, this is boring. You just got in a cab and you got to your destination. It was great. And that's been happening now for 3.5 weeks. And I think he did it perfectly. It's a nice, boring rollout, which is what you want. You want safety. And so even though something is bound to happen, there's bound to be an accident or something. That's just statistics. At least now we're showing that his system works great.
Yeah. And how is it that Elon is the only one who can make a boring situation into a massive penis around Austin? I mean, you're not going to get that from any other CEO.
And, it's great. I love that it was a joke. Someone posted it as a joke. They took the existing map and they just drew a thing. And he just went, that's the new map. Hilarious. I mean, that's funny. That's funny. You can do that. And it gets press, and now everyone's like, oh, we should be upset about this. He drew a big dick across the... It's like, you can say whatever you want. It's just a funny, like, anyone who's a normal person goes like, that's what my buddy would do. You know, he would have done that, and he would have gone, and you would have also gone, and that would have been it. You just go, right. We're not going to go, I can't believe that you did that. That is so disrespectful and awful and blah, blah. It's like, no, we all know what reality is, and we go,
I can confirm because I showed my kids and they had that hilarious reaction. And I also showed my parents who are in their 70s and they had the same reaction.
It's just, that's funny, you know.
No denying silliness, is there?
There's nothing beyond, you know, and, you know, proudly unserious. Oh, great. Proudly unserious. It's kind of smart. It's like, okay, great. You made a huge story about it, got me a whole bunch more publicity, and Tesla didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Getting back to that second part of the question, then, how do you think Tesla's full self-driving progress will shape the future of transportation? How do you think it's going to just change the world from now?
It's going to happen faster, I think, than anyone can imagine, because no one really wants to own a car. We've been told we want a car.
And you've been brainwashed.
So we're like, I want a car. But we don't.
And we've all been hostages to our cars.
Exactly.
The entire time we've been hostages, because you can't just go like, I won't have a car. It's like, oh, you're going to be a weird dude on his bicycle? Riding on the side of the giant roads that we have everywhere. That's going to be you. That's what you're going to do, or you're going to somehow take some magical transportation system that unfortunately doesn't exist or was destroyed in the 1950s. It's like, sorry, it doesn't happen anymore. So yeah, you've been held at gunpoint this whole time, going like, I love having my car. I got a car and it's red, and that's I've always wanted a red car. Because I watched that movie with the guy and he drove a red car, right? We've always been thinking about it in every commercial, every movie, everything. The car is you. I saw an ad the other day and they've literally, I think it's like, I don't know, it's an insurance company and they're like, your car represents you. It's a giant head with wheels. And I'm going, what is going on? And there's the owner of the car is cleaning his own face with a cotton swab in his ear, and it's like, whoa, that's what we've gotten to. The car is you. Once that's
sounds
gone,
like that thing on Toy Story is like a creepy thing with a head.
It's basically that, only with like, whoever
terrifying.
and that's the level that we're at. But once people realize that they don't want to pay for insurance and fuel and where to park it, and it got a scratch, and now I have to deal with that, and the oil changes, and the this, and the tires, and the windshield wiper fluid, all of it.
What you loved about your car was the freedom. Mm-hmm. This is even more freeing. And it's going to change society because we've dedicated so many resources to where you put your car for 95% of the day when you don't use it. We now actually don't get that space, right? So we don't get the park, we don't get the whatever else you want in your city because the cars have to have that space.
Right. And if you want to drive into the city, well, now it's going to cost you $60 to park.
It's going to change how we live because now if you live, let's say, outside a city, instead of being like, I never go to the city because it's a pain in the neck, you'll go to the city for a play or something.
You'll go 2 cities away because you don't have to drive the whole way.
Exactly.
There's so many there's going to be a million things that happen.
It's just and it's going to free up so much money. We don't realize how much money collectively we put into our cars or individually that's going to free up. So there's just no economic incentive not to do it. And we're already seeing it. You see it in cities like San Francisco where Uber comes in and 10% of the people just stop owning cars. And that's not even a great system. But when this happens for real and it's as cheap as it is and it works as well, everyone's going to give up their car practically.
Right. It's going to explode in so many different directions. It's going to explode in a million different ways.
Yes.
We could talk about probably 40 if we devoted the next 3 days to talk about it. And we would still not have even hit 1% of the changes that are going to happen. There's going to be entire new cultural movements that are hinging directly upon having an autonomous car.
Right, because it's like when we went from the horse to the car, everything changed in society, and it's the same kind of thing. Everything's going to change, and the things that are going to change just don't seem even possible when you own a horse.
What's here's some English pessimism, negativity. Yes, I totally am aligned with that, and I totally see it. But what's going to need to happen is electric robotaxis will have to become ubiquitous. They would just be they would have to be available within a minute or two to anyone's app, wouldn't they? So you're talking enormous scale to get robotaxis around. I mean, obviously Tesla's got the solution with Tesla ownerships already who are going to be able to do this. But my thoughts are it's going to happen. First to the younger community, teenagers who just will realise they don't need to go through the rigmarole of driving and learning and crashing and insurance, fuel, and all that nonsense. I think that's a very obvious thing that's just going to happen. But I think we've got to look at the past sort of 10 years, haven't we, of the EV takeover, which has taken far longer than I thought, to be honest. I mean, I thought people would have been jumping on the EV bandwagon to save such an enormous amount of money, to stop polluting and to, often have safer cars and more fun cars to drive. But it's just not the case. People are still buying dreadful choices of cars without a care in the world, quite frankly, to a lot of these points. So my fear is it's going to take a little longer than certainly I'd like it to make that change. But I do also see the point of the horse and cart were replaced within about 10 years, weren't they, in New York? I mean, that was a quick turnover, but we've not seen that sort of speed towards EVs even, have we? So,
sure. I mean, but part of that is that we've only gotten to this point where we have Giga Shanghai, Giga Texas, Giga Berlin in the past few years, so that up until this point, they couldn't even roll out enough cars. I mean, we're only at, 8 million Teslas on the road.
Right. Well, and again, people don't ever factor in the total cost of anything.
No.
When they go out and they buy anything, they don't factor in the cost of the fuel. And we see that because we try and explain it to people, but it's like one of those, it's the waiting to eat the having the 2 marshmallows later. People can't do that. We're very much a species of, if it's in my belly, then that's good.
Yes.
And so therefore I want the car, and it's cheaper if I get the gas one. And it has been that way for a while. And Tesla's close, but you have to get the not so nice Tesla, and so I may as well get the BMW that I really, really wanted, or the Toyota that I can actually really afford. That's been the biggest problem. When it's I can take what is essentially an Uber, only it's a tenth the cost. Well, then that's an easy one. Yeah. Then people switch immediately.
And let's just look at the older generation. So you're talking about the teenagers, and I totally agree that's going to happen, but older generation, I'm getting to the point where I don't like to drive in certain situations if it's raining or dark, whatever, right? And as you get older, your reaction times go down. So you're going to have a whole group of people who've lost their freedom who are going to go, wait a minute, we didn't lose our freedom. It's back. We can go wherever we want.
My great-grandfather was 90-something years old, had his car taken away from him by his son because he truly shouldn't have been able to drive, and he walked to a car dealer.
He bought a car.
And luckily, the car dealer called my grandfather and said, there's this guy here, and he wants to buy a car, and I don't think I should sell him one.
Oh.
That's the level that people want to maintain their freedom, and they do lose it. People lose it very quickly after a certain age. You just start to lose all the faculties to be able to drive safely. And let's be honest, so many people on the road don't have any faculties to drive.
Right.
They're so bad at it already. They're already so bad at it. So I feel like this is going to be huge, and it's just that people won't allow their imaginations to believe that this is true until it is.
Well, and plus we're not talking about the elephant in the room, which is the 1 million deaths a year. Like, we just go, well, yeah, that comes with the territory. 1 million people are going to die this year. Well, if I was trying to introduce any other technology and I said, but sorry, 1 million people have to die to have this happen, you'd be like, no, Zach, I'm not going to introduce that new lollipop because 1 million people will die. We just have accepted it, and we put no cost on it. We've just gone, well, I guess that's free. No, it's not free. I don't even know how you begin to put a price on 1 million people a year dying. So once we actually realize that this new system has way less deaths, I think we will just go, well, it'd be stupid not to use it.
It's like with smoking. Smoking is now very socially unacceptable in most places. Not everywhere, but in a lot of places, smoking is completely out of the question. That was not the case just a few decades ago. We've changed our stance on it, all based on that's just health, right?
You could probably smoke while your baby's being born in the hospital.
People still love smoking, right? It has not changed. The addictiveness, the pleasure of smoking has not changed. Sure, there's vaping. We can get into that. But on a health level, we've identified that is so bad that now most people don't smoke, whereas it used to be the opposite. That is, again, it's just a health level. That was the only change, and that's something as addicting as smoking. I think that cars, it's going to be a similar thing where it's like you drive a car, you're putting everyone in danger. It sounds crazy to say now because you don't have an alternative. You know, I can't go like, oh, well, I just won't drive.
Well, I hate to tell you, there is going to come a time very soon where you won't be able to drive in many places. Right. Just like you can't put a horse on a highway, you won't be able to put a car on a highway unless it's driven by a robot.
And people hate hearing that because, again, I'm telling you something that you think that you like to do, and it can be fun. And I hope that there are racetracks where you can drive and crash a car. Great. Sure. You know, just like we have horse ranches now. If I had to ride a horse to work every day, I think I would need to change professions or you know, you'd change your life. You wouldn't have a 50-mile commute if you had to ride a horse there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so many different directions we can go in there. But I love it. I love the topic and the ideas of what's coming. Common sense suggests that, you know, everything you've just said is correct. And that exactly should be the way forward. There's just that sort of, you know, caveman within us all, isn't there? That's still
it's cognitive dissonance. And it's what's kept us alive. And so now the hard part is because it happens so frequently, now it's every week, there's something new that hits that cognitive dissonance. It's almost like it's holding us back as a species in many ways because literally nothing changed your whole lifetime if we go back 1,000 years. Nothing. There was no new technology, nothing. So it was great to hold on to whatever you knew was right because that wasn't going to change. And now, just about, like I said, every day or every week, there's a new app or a new AI or something that you should try. And if you keep with the, you know what, I'm going to stick with AOL and that's what I'm going to use for email and that's all I'm going to do, well, then you're going to be just so far behind, right? And
I remember saying, like, I don't need an HD TV. I was 12. I couldn't buy a television. And I said, HD, I don't need that. And guess how soon after that I switched? I mean, I didn't buy the TV, but I immediately realized, oh, I like watching HD television better than I did on the old CRT, you know, 400-pound television that we had.
Yeah. I guess that's it. I think once you, this is like trying to explain to people before they've had an experience of summoning a cybercab to their door, getting in it, realizing, oh, it's all clean and it doesn't smell of a sweaty taxi driver or whatever, and it's driving me safely and it's barely costing any money. All those things, I hope, will be a nice, quick light bulb moment in the minds of people, just like when they must have been the first people to step into an elevator for the first time and push a button and go, oh my God, I'm not dead. And quickly, you know, change their minds about everything, like sell the car. We don't need one anymore, especially, as I said, if they're totally ubiquitous.
You know, like Netflix was cool in the, especially once they started streaming, because to watch a movie, there was usually a process. There was a ritual.
And a fight.
You had to go to the Blockbuster.
Yeah.
You had to
and argue for an hour.
The movie.
I don't want that one.
You couldn't just go like, this movie sucks. You had to watch the whole thing.
Yep.
Or you had to just go do something else, right? Or watch the movie that you had at home, which you had already seen 3 times. Right?
Yeah.
So there was that. And then all of a sudden you had the streaming and people went, oh, it takes all the fuss out of it.
But go back in time. People said at the time, this will never change. We'll always go down to the rental store because that had just become the only way to do it,
and
not because it was fun to do.
It's exactly the same thing here. Instead of having to like walk over to the VCR and put the tape in, we have to walk over to our car, wherever the hell we parked it, go find it, beep, beep, oh, it's over there, and then go sit in it, start it, and start to drive it, right? As soon as it's it's literally Netflix because I've ordered a thing and it arrives and I just kind of walk into it and then I start watching Netflix in the thing. Well, now it's just Netflix again, only now I'm moving. So that's going to be the big change. And everyone says like, oh, it's like you're on your phone 99% of the time, everybody. So don't act like you wouldn't like more time to be on your phone or to watch something. You know, you don't like driving. People. That's one of the leading causes of accidents is they can't put their goddamn phone down. So of course you want to be on your phone while you're driving. So that's where the cognitive dissonance is. They're lying.
They're lying. They're saying I love to drive. Well, yeah, sure.
Then put your phone down.
Give me a beautiful mountain road or something that's nobody else is on, and sure, I'd love to drive it too if the car is right. But like, no, you're stuck in traffic right now. You don't love to drive.
Yeah. I've definitely realised that with my dilemma of what to buy. That's why I ended up with the Model Y. I much prefer the driving position of the 3, but I'm like, I just don't go driving that often to enjoy the car like I want to or like I think I do. So I ended up just going for the Model Y. I'm like, well, this is way more practical, and I'm just joining a traffic jam when I leave my house, and that's it. But it just sort of dawned on me when you were talking about that. the idea of just people getting into a Robotaxi for the first time or whatever and just, witnessing it, it's just butts in seats 2.0, isn't it? It's just all over again. I think it's going to be very obvious when, we can just summon a car to our door and it'll be super cheap.
And when it's too many steps away, it's scary. When you don't know anybody who has this technology, it's that, right? It's like, oh, HD TVs, whoa, that sounds bad. I see them at the store, but as soon as your buddy has one and you go and you watch the basketball game or the hockey game and you're like, oh, I can see the puck. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, if it's good enough for Joey, then I'm going to get one.
I also think when you get into a Robotaxi now, it has a steering wheel and pedals, and you think, no one's touching them. That's weird. When you get into a cyber cab that has none of that, I think your brain will just go, well, there's nothing for me to do anyway, so I'll just relax and see what happens.
Just like an airplane. You get onto an airplane, and unless you're flying it,
the
door closes and you don't get to see any of the switches or buttons. You just have to trust that the pilots know what they're doing, and at the end of the flight, maybe you clap your hands.
I think that's why it's we all know that the pilot's going to talk to us before the flight happens.
That's true.
Because the whole point of that discussion, that whole, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's just to make you feel like, oh, okay, there's someone competent up there.
All the ritual of, and here's how you buckle the seatbelts together, and here's how it, just in case and it's like, when was the last, it doesn't happen that often that we land in the ocean and you think you can't scream to people, the life vests are under your seat, pass it along, right? It's a good idea that we do it, but it also makes you feel better, right? All of this stuff.
Not me.
Yeah.
I hate flying every single time. I've done it a lot. Hate it. Anyway, okay, let me do a bit of conjecture time then. So what do you think Tesla looks like 10 years from now? So vehicles, products and services. It is just obviously we don't know the future. This is not financial advice, but what do you see everything looking like?
This is like talking about Amazon when they sold books, right? We all thought back then
they'll sell more books.
They'll sell more books. People are going to just be addicted to books. And some people are. And some people have Kindles. But that's not what we talk about when we talk about Amazon. We talk about movies.
AWS.
We talk about AWS. We talk about... it said that it would come in 5 hours, but it took 6, right? It's that level. I think it's going to be very similar with Tesla. We're going to go, right, they started as like a car company.
Really? They sold cars?
And now... It's gonna be robots.
Yeah,
it's going to be
robots.
Big time robots, and I think that
the question is how many? Like, is it?
It's going to make Robotaxi look stupid.
Right? Is it 50 million? Is it 1 billion? Like, have they made more than the number of humans on the planet by then? It's robots, definitely, and I don't think any of us are ready for that. And I don't know if it's good or bad, to be honest.
It's just like the smartphone. Is it good? Is it bad?
Right.
I don't know, but there sure are a hell of a lot of them, and we can't seem to live without them.
Right.
Possibly too many of them.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's the discussion we should be having. We should be talking about life with robots.
More people own smartphones than own toothbrushes.
Wow.
That's a fact that I don't think anyone would have believed before it happened.
It's a really good point.
And that's the same, going to be very similar with robots, I think.
Yeah. So you're on board with the 1-to-1 of humans and robot ratio.
I think
at some
more.
point then?
I think it's going to be more. I think they're going to outnumber us at least 2 or 3 to 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
because
this is
it's
think
unlimited
think
labor.
about what is ideal for humans. When humans have had the most ideal setup, and you can think of pharaohs and kings, you can think of Downton Abbey, right? They've got butlers, they've got maids, they've got people who do this and do that. You want all sorts of people taking care of all sorts of things for you.
That's a good point. Like Downton Abbey was mainly the servants had to live in it, so they way outnumbered the family.
Right.
It's just they slept in smaller rooms.
Right. And it's a very fun show, but if you replaced all the serving staff with robots, it becomes a very boring show because you would only be, the only characters who were of any interest would be the humans. But maybe it would be more interesting. I don't know. Maybe it depends on the AI.
I mean, just this week, we're talking about companions now on Grok, right? Something that we hadn't talked about before. I think it's because Elon knows that when we have robots, we're going to treat them as companions, and they're not going to just have one personality among all of them. You're going to want your robot to have whatever personality you want to have.
And that's the crazy thing, too, because we didn't all see the movie Her because it was very pretentious. But in that movie, the guy falls in love with an AI who has no earthly form, just talking, right? That we have that literally today where people are falling in love with an anime AI chatbot. crazy.
I think, to be fair, some Americans have married stranger objects, haven't they?
Sure, absolutely. That is our right. But
It's in the Constitution.
But I think we've watched the movie Interstellar, and there's TARS, and it's shaped like a rectangle, and yet people like him as a character because even though he's an artificial intelligence, he's witty and funny. And it's like, right, we're now quite obviously going to have these things. Yeah, there's going to be that as well.
It's going to get proper weird, isn't it? It really is.
Proper weird. Yes.
I love that. That's a very nice way to put it.
Yes.
I don't know how else
it has been for a while, but it's been on the fringes. And now the entire country of Japan just downloaded Grok just to
Overnight.
get the anime girl AI. And that's a little bit frightening as well.
Yeah, and then when you imagine Tesla bots can, would look like perhaps some of the bots from Ex Machina or something, and they're
Right.
wandering around. I mean, this changes the dynamics of human species and future childbirth and all sorts. We can go so far, can't we? Perhaps because we've got an imagination and we can sort of see. Not everyone has this ability of thinking so far forward.
Well,
I
and
suppose.
sometimes it really sucks. Like you imagine some of this
Yeah.
and you're like, ugh.
No, I mean, AI.
It's proper
like-
weird. And a lot of people, their brains go, shut it down.
Yeah,
We're not talking about this. This is weird, and I don't like where this is going, and so you don't want to hear it. And I totally understand that.
Yeah,
but
I
I think if that's the direction things are actually headed.
I mean, that's where I was at a year or two ago when Elon was talking about there's a 20% chance that we're in a simulation, or there's a 20% chance that we'd be taken over by AI. There's always 20% chance of something bad. And I'm like, well, at least there's an 80% chance that it's good. Now I'm like, I don't know that there's a very good chance that AI won't be really bad for us.
Right.
I think we might be the bootloader for it, and maybe that's just the natural way of things, but like I don't see why an AI would want to keep me around. Like it just doesn't make any sense. If something's super intelligent, like I don't want to keep ants around. So I just don't see
Just
why.
like we don't want to keep horses around as soon as we got the
Exactly.
internal combustion
likewise,
engine.
I suppose likewise, you don't want to go around and kill all the ants, though, do you, in the whole
No.
world? So
Right.
that's the hope for AI. Maybe it'll just not need to use us for energy.
Except that if
somehow.
you're trying to get to a Kardashev 1 or 2 planet, at some point you go, I want to use the planet for energy, and therefore, kind of like if you go to Hitchhiker's Guide for the Galaxy, it's like you're just
Yeah.
in the way of my road that I'm building through space. So
Right.
just, I don't hate you humans, but I don't need you.
But this New York City, as you call it, is in
Right.
the way of my giant solar farm in
Right.
order to better, turn on more parts
Just-
of my brain that I've already designed.
Just like,
Yeah.
that ant colony is just in the way of my pool that I'm going to put in.
Yes.
I
guess-
don't
I
hate
guess
you
one of
ants,
the-
but
I don't know, one of the nice places you can land is, wouldn't it be weird if, 7 billion years of evolution, whatever it is, you happen to have been born at the time when the world's about to end and witness it? I mean, that's something.
Right. We could have been, and it's like I could have been there when we invented bronze. It'd have been like, wow, this is a great axe.
or the
You
day
know?
that asteroid hit and the dinosaurs are like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you might not have liked the person the CEO who created the axe, though. He might have said, naughty words on stage, and at the time you were just like, no, I don't like that guy.
But it would have been really weird if we didn't like him for other reasons that had nothing to
Yes.
do with the really bad thing that happened, right? And it's like, oh, did people like him? Zorglon?
Yeah.
Yes, they didn't like him. Oh, well, that makes sense since he destroyed their whole civilization. Well, actually, they didn't like him because he wanted
waved
to
funny.
cut government funding. Huh, that's an odd... Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
one foresaw that he would bring about the end of civilization through the AI apocalypse. Well, some people speculated that might happen, but whatever. They kind of liked it, I guess. They thought that was neat. It's like, really? This is such it's so weird.
It is so weird.
It is. It is.
The
But
things that we have to talk about.
I suppose if I think it's Joe Rogan who said, isn't it? Is we might be the sex organs to the machine world. That's such a dark sentence, isn't it? But it really could be it.
Yep. That could be
That
what
could be
life's
it.
job is, right? To get to
Yeah,
that
and
point.
this has perhaps happened billions of times around the universe, and we don't even know it.
And we don't talk about it. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the funny part. It's
We are now.
it's happening right now. It's not like we're talking about it. I get it. In the 1700s, talking about it was probably useless. But now you're absolutely right. It's happening before our
Well,
eyes.
I do like that Elon at least acknowledges some of these dangers. A lot of people, they just want to talk about football.
Right.
And it's like, that's cool, but also we're developing superintelligence. we wrote an entire movie series based around this where we had to go back in time to stop the guy inventing it. So isn't that a problem? And it's like,
yeah, Will, are you working on a time machine by any chance?
If I was smart enough, that'd be nice.
but it is just weird that, like, again, Elon's both the person pushing it forward and the person saying we should pull it back, and he's one of the only people on Earth who wants to get us to Kardashev scale 1. And it's like, I'm pretty sure Kardashev probably thought, hey, wouldn't it be nice if we got to Kardashev scale 1? But most people are just like, Carta who? And it's like, right, no, it's using all the energy on the planet. That would be kind of neat, because the world wouldn't look the same as how we imagine it. And everyone just goes like, right, but like, would I still be able to watch TikTok? And it's like, you'd think TikTok was stupid, or we'd have TikTok, but it'd be even more addictive and in your brain. So I don't know. You wouldn't recognize this world. It would sort of be like, would there still be paper dolls? And it's like, what are you even talking about? Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. People will be like, but what about this that I like? And it's like, guys, shut up. The future is like way bigger than this. To go to a surfer analogy, we're kind of catching that wave, and we can at least ride it. Everybody else is just like, oh, that was weird. And meanwhile, we're going, Cowabunga, dude!
That's it. Yeah. I don't know. I just think, having our brains be as active as they are, I suppose, nowadays compared to, 1,000 years ago, perhaps. I just remember Richard Dawkins saying, a long time ago when I first sort of stumbled across his work, and it was like the fact that you all have the ability to imagine the universe in your mind and sort of picture it and build it in your mind is like just that ability alone, where every other animal in existence has never even thought above them, beyond themselves or what's happening tomorrow even. So, I don't know. We're in a very exciting time. And, I'll bring us back down to earth right now. As you've both been following Tesla's journey for a long time, you've also been to an awful lot of Tesla events, I suppose, in the early days. So what's some of the most memorable moments of your sort of Tesla life?
I remember when I pulled my hand away from Elon. Remember we were at the unveiling of the semi-truck.
But then it turned out to be the Roadster
unveil. And he got so excited that Elon said, like, throw down the barriers and basically started walking towards us. And I was so excited. And then as he approached, I pulled my hand away. And the reason I did was I thought, what if I give him a disease and I kill him? And this was before COVID. And I know that's a stupid. I know that's.
Sorry, it's funny, but yeah.
Right. So you didn't shake his hand.
I didn't shake his hand that day. I shook his hand at the Boring Company event, but I didn't.
But don't worry, I did. But I had to do it left-handed because he was coming back around the other way, and I had gone like this, and he missed me, and then I got him the other way. I mean, the excitement at that moment was so palpable.
I mean, I got to ride in it.
Right. I mean, everybody, but like the truck came out, and we're like, it's a semi-truck. Like, who's going to drive this thing? Although I was, at the time, I was like, I'm going to get my CDL. I'm going to drive it across the country. But it's a semi-truck. It's not that exciting. And then the sexiest sports car in the world comes out of the back of the truck.
It's so hard to imagine that you were there. And you actually took a blast then, Zach, in the Roadster.
And when he threw the gate down, Jesse got to go touch the car. I jumped up into the semi-truck cab. I don't think any of that was planned.
It was a weird
I saw
moment.
I saw his security giving each other looks like this is not a good idea.
Right. Because we were not supposed to go up to the car.
No.
So you have all these people who are obsessed with this car because it just the first moments they're seeing it, and I'm like right there. I'm rushed up to the front because we had a front row seat because we waited in the front the whole time. Like we didn't go get free drinks or anything. We were at the front the whole time, and everyone's like, do we get in the car? What do we do? Like, I mean, because someone could have gotten in the driver's seat.
I know, driven away. They could have honked the horn and just, we're in Hawthorne. I mean, there was a path out of there, and I don't know if people would have stopped you. I don't know how they would have stopped you. It's the fastest thing in the world. But it was weird that he was just like, yeah, come check it out. It's like, I kind of really like that part about Elon because he clearly didn't have a plan. Right.
And that's something that I would have done. I would have not had the
well,
plan
he might have
properly.
had a plan, but he got excited like all of us do.
Exactly. And he was just like, guys, this is so cool. And it was.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah. Like that time he was bouncing up and down on stage with all of its excitement and then did something a bit silly.
Or talk about not planning. I mean, throwing something at a window on a Cybertruck.
Right. And it breaking. We were there for that too.
Yeah. Well, of course, you were there for the Cybertruck reveal as well. So
that one was That one was brutal. Okay, because
Yeah.
when the Cybertruck at the time is different than the Cybertruck is now. So the proportions are slightly different. The back end was way bigger, and especially when it drove up the ramp, it did not look so good. I think it looked fine.
I liked it.
From where I was standing, which was different from where you were standing, it didn't look quite as good as the Cybertruck does.
You'd be looking up at it, wouldn't you? So that would be quite an odd shape.
Was like pissed.
Yeah, everyone was pissed.
They were pissed.
And in fact, that's
Really?
probably why I was able to get online and order it when I did. Because I ordered it
No one
as
else
soon as the
was.
Wi-Fi started working.
It was crazy because everyone was just sort of like almost. People acted like they wanted to leave. I think this is an LA problem more so because I think if they held it anywhere else, people would be like, well, at least I'll be polite.
But imagine we had no idea what it would look like. There was only the hint, right? They gave that headlight line hint,
and no one knew how to interpret that.
Right.
It didn't make any sense.
So everyone had the sexiest thing in their mind pictured, and then this thing rolls on to stage, and they're like, "What?"
It was brutal.
Man, well, I think it's about 3:00 in the morning. Right. So I woke Frankie up, my son, who was probably only about, I don't know, 5 at the time. And we watched it together. And we just watched it. And then we were both just silent when it rolled out. And I realized that's the only time I've been in shock as an adult. And I just didn't get it. I was like, just don't. There's a triangle on stage.
Yeah.
Like,
and it still happens today.
sense.
As people see it for the first time on the roads, they'll be like, what is that? And they don't know. Like Jesse is constantly having to open up the back of the truck because people don't know it's a pickup
They
truck.
think it's an SUV.
Yeah. There was a lady I was talking to in, I don't know where we ate. Oh, that amazing burger place, In-N-Out Burger in America. Yeah. And and the lady was talking to me about our Cybertruck because she saw us pull up in it. And she's like, and I said, oh, it's got a big bed in the back. She's like, in the back of that? She's like, where is it? I was like, well, you just under the zoomy bit at the back. I can't remember the name of the tonneau cover. And she had no idea it was a truck. She's like, I really like that.
Yeah, people do not know.
Right.
Even to this day.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and also you say tonneau cover and no one knows what it is either because everybody has an uncovered pickup truck bed.
A zoomy cover is why.
Zoomy cover. I like
there
that.
you go. Zooms up.
It's more descriptive than tonneau. What is tonneau?
Yeah, no one knows what tonneau is. It a tunnel? Not quite. Yeah. Oh, the Cybertruck's absolutely mad. I mean, again, what company would have built the Cybertruck if not for Tesla?
And again, it's because Elon's not thinking about money. As soon as you think about money, you go, well, it has to look like every other truck, right? But as soon as you go, I don't care about that. I just want what I want.
Like the future.
Yeah.
And this is where I think Elon's really smart. Maybe the millennials, the Gen Xers, and the boomers, all the people who could buy cars, maybe they all hate it. But I know for a fact that if Gen Alpha is allowed to drive cars, which they won't, but if they are going to be loyal Tesla fans for their entire lives because of the Cybertruck.
Yes.
Because when I was like 5, I didn't know any cars. I knew what I knew the difference between an excavator and a backhoe was, but I didn't know any makes or models besides the ones that my parents drove.
I don't know the 2 words you just said. What was that?
Backhoe and an excavator, big trucks, because I was a child. I was a little kid. Little boys love trucks. Yeah. But the first car that I knew what it was a Mustang, right? Because it's a cool car, and you see it in the movies. Every kid that I've seen knows what the Cybertruck is, boy or girl. And that has never happened before, I think, in the history of automobiles. I do not... Maybe the Model T, maybe, but I think you just call it a horseless carriage. Like... I think the Cybertruck's the only thing that is universally recognized. It's in their video games. It's in Roblox. It was in Fortnite and PUBG. So like they've driven this car more than almost me. Like that's the level that they're at, and it's so iconic. And they don't care. They don't care that it's weird or anything. It hits the primal instinct, and it goes, that thing's sick, and they like it. And I do think that in 20 years. Whatever autonomous vehicles are roaming the earth, they're definitely going to be Teslas because those kids are going to want to drive in a Tesla.
All right, I've got a weird question for you then. So if Tesla didn't exist and you had to drive a car, what would it be?
I remember in 2010, maybe 2009, I was in an engineering class. I had a wonderful engineering teacher in high school, and he put us to the test. He said, "What kind of electric car can I drive?" And at the time, there was very few and far between. They all looked like little bubble cars. I think the Mitsubishi Maiev or whatever.
iMeave? Yeah.
iMeave was like the top contender for his little exercise. Like literally we were like, that one's probably the best based on price and range and everything. That's where we were at. I think it would have stayed that way. I think that all electric cars would have
just be little bubbles like the i3 and
120 mile range tops. They would have kept 20
they would have
kilowatt
nerfed
hour.
all the cars. Like,
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a Lucid. There wouldn't be a Rivian if it weren't for Tesla.
There
in my
wouldn't be
opinion.
a Ford Mach-E. There wouldn't be an ID3 or ID4.
No.
It would be
Leaf level.
compliance cars up the wazoo. And I mean, I think the prices would probably stay high. It may have come down eventually, but it would have been like a poor person car. It would have been like, that's where I think EVs would have been. What would I have been driving? I don't know.
It'd still be any Leaf, I suppose.
Leaf or
I suppose so.
i3 or
I only
something.
bought the Leaf, I think, because I wanted a Tesla, though. I don't know if I would have gotten into cars. I think I would have just.
Yeah.
It's 100% range anxiety all the time in that car. Like, you can understand range anxiety when you own that car because you're just like, oh my god.
I had range anxiety about my Leaf, including the moment I sold it. I sold it to a lady. She lived like 40 miles away, and I was like,
I know you were a wreck for a day.
oh my god! I was like, call me when you get there. I'm so worried about you. She's like, I'm so excited about my new car. I'm like, drive fast. I'm like, yeah, drive 55 miles an hour and
go downhill.
I think there's a Chatamo station somewhere in between the two spots.
You could have been following her in your Cybertruck, just ready to
charge her up. I know. I was like this close. That's how insane it was. And I think that's where electric cars would have stayed.
Yeah.
If anything.
Yeah, because we just sold our Rivian and our Ford F-150 Lightning, and we did not miss them one bit. Like,
and those had big ranges.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been plug-in hybrid. The whole world, not the whole world. It would have been 10% of the market would have been plug-in hybrid, and less than 1% would be EV. That would be the way that it would go. And people would go, oh, well, if you really care about the environment, you'll get a plug-in hybrid.
It would be so boring. We wouldn't be talking about it. It just would be so boring.
I would have given up. I mean, we wouldn't have had this channel. I would have just... I mean, God, it would have just been so
Because if the
depressing.
world was Zoe's and, Leafs, it's just, I'm not against those cars. It's just that if that's the pinnacle of it, then it doesn't really fit the need for most people.
Because
I was quite excited by the i3 when I first drove it as my first electric car experience.
Yeah.
But God, I wouldn't have made a channel about it and started talking about the company.
It was sort of like
seems crazy.
It was like, oh, this is kind of neat, but also very kooky.
Right.
You're like, oh, you're a nut. You're a nut if you drive that car,
Yeah.
And I think plenty of those people exist, but plenty of those people switched over to Model S's at the time. It was like, oh, why don't I just get a cool car? And then they're like, oh, now I can be environmental and cool at the same time. But I don't think anyone else would have done that because none of the other car companies wanted to do that.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to one of my last questions then. So my wife Charlie and I, we live and work together. And the sheer terror in people's eyes when we share this with other couples is pretty hilarious. So it's not for everyone, is it, working with your family? So, what's it like, Jesse, working with your dad? Be honest, he's not listening.
Right.
Do you want me to leave?
No, it's really... I think it's really nice because I think that fathers and sons have worked together for thousands of years, that you would... that you would work together. And I think that there is obviously some component of back and forth between that where, the son begins to learn the skills and begins to, find his footing eventually. And then, there's tension. But I think it's a very nice thing. If it's something that you can do, you should probably try to do it. I know that that's few and far between. I don't think it's very common that you can be an accountant for a company and then get hired on as an apprentice under your father, so I realize that it's a very unique opportunity, probably one of the last generations of fathers and sons that can truly work together.
Maybe it will take off though with AI. Like maybe if robots are doing most of the work, you can choose to
once
do...
we have pretend jobs.
Right, pretend jobs, yeah.
Life is a little less stressful.
Job, by the way.
Once we have the jobs that they have in the rom-com movies, where it's like, I'm an editor for a thing and I never have to work and I simply worry that my romantic partner's having an affair the whole time even though they're not. Rom-com, like that's, I think, going to be... that could be it, and I think that you'd like to become a blacksmith with your father. I think that would be fun, but it's very rewarding because we, I think Zac's he's a very jack of all trades kind of guy, and I like kind of following in his footsteps of learning even more trades. It's really fun.
Yeah. Well, you guys get up to so much, don't you? I mean, I don't even have time to keep up with a lot of your channels.
We don't even have time to put stuff on our channels of the stuff that we do. Like,
don't know how you do it. There seems to be multiple versions of you all the time playing somewhere in my house, and then I'm interviewing you now. It's very strange, by the way, still. But of course, you build an awful lot of stuff as well. You've got your new Now Let's Build channel. You've got your Now We Adventure channel, where you go off on your bikes and review things. And there's so much, and it really is lovely to see you both just been working together. And Jesse, I've been watching you grow up since you were a young lad on the channel. It's
really
been
weird, isn't it?
It is weird to look back at little you from when you started. It's really strange, but I think it's really inspirational as well. It's really nice that you work together, and no doubt it must be a bit hard sometimes.
Just I like it that every now and then some people are like, "Wait, what?" And like in the comments, they'll be like, "I didn't know that."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I mean, I'm really lucky that my dad had me young, so I kind of get to grow up with him to a certain degree. You were what, 22 when you had me?
Yeah, very young.
And I'm going like 9. I'm like, oh God, like I'm 9 years behind you. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Cool. But ladies and gentlemen, I've got lots more exciting questions to ask Zac and Jesse from my own Patrons that have already supplied us with a few questions that are really fun. So join us over at patreon.com/Tesla Jigsaw for this extended interview and help support little independent creators like me. So massive thanks to you guys, Zac and Jesse. Pleasure talking to you as always. And
if you're watching Will right now, please go join his Patreon. YouTube has cut this to the bone. I'm sure Will doesn't want to tell you that, but like, it's not fair because we create this stuff that YouTube makes money on. And the only way all of us creators can stay alive is with people that are willing to give just a little bit more. So yeah, head over to Patreon, support him, because you want to see more of Will. I know you do.
It's especially not fair because YouTube used to pay more. When we started, YouTube paid more. So it was a lot easier for us to get started than it is for you, Will. So I urge everyone to head over to Patreon. You're going to support Will tremendously. So please go do that.
Absolutely, yeah. Massive respect to all of my patrons. I'm blown away with the generosity and support I receive over there. So, thank you, everyone. So, join us over there. I'm Will. This is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you, patrons. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.